Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for you're joining me. Today's Daf is Nazir, Tractate Masechet Nazir, Daf 17 Amud A. I'm going to do a quick key points and arguments which I generated from, I think it was ChatGPT, I can't remember which one I use now. Number one, the impurity of a Nazir in Carbonate. If a Nazir becomes impure, the Torah requires them to restart their Nazirut, and brings to spirit carbonate offering. The Gemara explains what happens if one of these carbonate becomes invalid or is lost. Can the Nazir proceed without offering all the required carbonate? Number two, Rabbi Yehuda versus the Chachamim on doubt of Safek Tuma. Rabbi Yehuda says if there is a doubt of Safek about whether a Nazir became impure in a closed area, Rishut HaYachid, they must treat it as a definite impurity. The Chachamim disagree, arguing that in case of doubt, leniencies can apply, especially where there is no clear evidence of impurity. 3. Nazir in Safek Tuma, doubtful impurity. Can a Nazir shave and bring carbon in case of doubtful impurity? The Gemara examines whether the Nazir should remain in a state of doubt or take action to resolve the status. 4. Vows and intent. Amir Nazir. The importance of precise wording in Nazir vows is highlighted. The Gemara discusses cases where the Nazir's language may lead to ambiguity or require clarification. 5. Tension between halacha and practicality. How to reconcile strict halachic requirements for carbonate with real-world scenarios where offerings are lost or invalidated. By the end of the Daf, the Gemara emphasizes the need for certainty and resolution for Nazirut-related halachot while balancing leniencies and doubt. Okay, so let's go straight into the text. I'm going to do Amud A, Daf 17 Amud A. Hacha b'mai askinan b'yoti v'nichnas. Reish Lakish responded, with what are we dealing here in this brayta? With one who left and entered, meaning that after having left the cemetery and purifying himself, he then vowed to be a Nazirite, and subsequently re-entered the cemetery. Rabbi Yochanan raised another objection to Reish Lakish's opinion from a different source. The difference between ritual impurity in Bain Tamei V'chulu. If one took a vow of Naziriteship while ritually impure, the 7th day of his purification process counts as part of his tally of his term of Naziriteship. However, a ritually pure Nazirite who became impure starts his counting only from the 8th day. From the Sefer Hilchot Nazirut 6:7. Person who took a vow of Naziriteship, a ritually pure Nazirite who became impure, is only the following halacha. If a ritually impure person took a vow of Naziriteship, his 7th day purification counts as part of his tally. Since he did not have to bring an offering on the 8th day, the legal status of part of the 7th day is like that of full day. And he can therefore begin counting in Nazireship from the 7th day of his purification, coming to a Nazir. Although he does not become ritually pure until sunset, the ritual impurity of one who has already immersed himself is weak and does not prevent his Nazireship from taking effect from Tashva of his term of Nazireship. Since he starts counting his term of Nazireship as soon as he becomes pure. With regard to a ritually pure Nazirite who becomes impure, his 7th day purification does not count as part of his tally. Rather, he starts counting his days of Nazireship from the following day, which is the day in which he brings his offerings. If it enters your mind and the vow of Nazireship stated while ritually impure does not take effect, why does the Brisa state that the 7th day counts as part of his tally, indicate that the Naziriteship takes effect without the need for him to restate his vow? As a result of this question, the Gemara offers a different interpretation of the dispute. Rashi said, the dispute between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish is not stated above. With regard to the question of vow of Nazireship taking effect, everyone agrees that it takes effect from the moment of his acceptance of Nazireship, even if he was in the cemetery. Rather, when they disagree, it's with regard to being flogged. Ki peligi and milke. Most commentaries hold that the disagreement between Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish is only with regard to whether a Nazirite is flogged for becoming ritually impure from a corpse. Excuse me, and Reish Lakish agrees that a Nazirite is flogged if he shaved or drank wine. But there are some suggest that according to Reish Lakish, the Nazireship only takes effect by rabbinic decree, and he would not be flogged for violating any of the prohibitions. However, one discussion in Tractate Dome indicates that this opinion is incorrect, and that's Rabbeinu Todros. As follows: Rabbi Yochanan holds that since the vow takes effect, he is therefore flogged for becoming impure, and Rish Lakish hold that he is not flogged for becoming impure, but the vow does take effect with regard to the prohibition of Nazirite. According to this version of the dispute as well, Rabbi Yochanan raised an objection to Rish Lakish from the Mishnah, which states, one who took a vow of Nazirite while in the cemetery, even if he was there for a full 30 days without leaving, those days he spent in the cemetery do not count as part of his tally, since his Nazirite has not gone into effect. And therefore he does not bring the offerings of impurity, despite having been in the cemetery. Rabbi Yochanan infers from this, it is the offerings of impurity that he does not bring, but he is flogged for contracting impurity, which is not in accordance with the opinion of Rish Lakish. The Gemara answers, this inference is not correct. As by right the Mishnah should teach he is not flogged, but due to the fact that the Tana wants to teach the latter clause in the Mishnah, which states, even after 17 entered again, those days do not count as part of his tally, means his Nazirite takes effect, and he does bring the offerings of impurity for re-entering the cemetery, and the Tana therefore taught a similar phrasing in the first clause of the Mishnah. He does not bring the offerings of impurity, so this should not be seen as an indication that he is not flogged. The Gemara suggests another proof in support of Rabbi Yochanan's opinion. Come and hear a proof from another Braita. The difference between an impure person who took a vow of Nazirite and a pure Nazirite who became impure is only in the following halacha. That in the case of an impure person who took a vow of Nazirite, his 7-day purification counts as part of his tally of the term of Nazirite. But in the case of a pure Nazirite who became impure, his 7-day purification does not count as part of his tally, and refers with regard to flogging. This Nazirite and that Nazirite are equal. Rish Lakish said to Rabbi Yochanan that it's not correct inference. Rather, it is with regard to shaving on the 7-day purification that this Nazirite and Nazirite are equal. So let's explain that in the footnote. Nesig lachas zeh v'zeh shavin. The commentator Nazir understands this to be saying that just as a Nazirite who became richly impure must shave his hair on the 7th day of his purification process, so too, one who took a vow of Nazirite while impure must shave on the 7th day of his purification process before accepting his Nazirite. Although the Gemara later proves that this is not so, the Gemara here is not concerned with that proof, since his explanation of Rish Lakish is entirely discounted anyway. That's from Tosfot. Alternatively, this means that they are both liable to receive lashes if they shave during their days of ritual impurity. There's no question in this explanation, because then the Braita should have mentioned that they equal with regard to being flogged for drinking wine as well. The Rosh answers that shaving is merely an example of a Nazirite prohibition, and the Braita means that they are equal with regard to being subject to being flogged for drinking wine as well, since even a richly impure person who took a vow of Nazirite must shave on that day. The Gemara asks, but in that case, according to Rish Lakish, what is the halacha with regard to flogging? This Nazirite is flogged, and that Nazirite who is richly impure when he vowed is not flogged. If so, let him teach this difference as well. Why does the Braita state that there is only one difference between them? The Gemara answers the Braita speaking of his remedy. The Braita is discussing the conditions that will enable his Nazirite to take effect, rather than transgressions that render the Nazirite liable to receive lashes. In the commentator notes, the Tosfot explained that the phrase his remedy is referring to one who became ritually impure unwittingly, when the phrase detrimental to him is referring to one who became ritually impure purposefully, and is therefore liable to receive lashes. The Rosh states that this Braita does not discuss transgressions, but rather the fulfillment of the mitzvah of Nazirite in a proper manner. Well, speaking of a manner that is detrimental to him, the Braita does not discuss Nazirite's punishments and discusses only the means by which he can resume his observance of Nazirite. The Gemara further suggests, I'm going to hear a proof from that which is taught in the Braita to Sefta 2:14. One who was richly impure and took a vow of Nazirite must still observe the halacha of a Nazirite. He is prohibited from shaving and from drinking wine, and if he shaved, or if he drank wine, or if he became richly impure from a corpse, he incurs the 14 lashes administered to one who actively transgresses the negative Torah prohibition. The Gemara concludes this is a conclusive refutation to Yuvta. The Gemara cannot answer as it did before that the Braita is discussing one who left the cemetery and re-entered. But this Braita mentions both ritual impurity and shaving. By Ravasi, even Reish Lakish agrees that one who shaved or drank wine before leaving the cemetery is flogged. Tosfot. The opinion of Reish Lakish is explained by Ravashi. After concluding that one who takes a vow of nazirship while in the cemetery is liable to receive lashes, Rava asks, what is halacha if one took a vow to be a Nazirite while standing in the cemetery? It is necessary that his exit from the cemetery be delayed for a specific period of time for him to become liable to receive lashes. The Gemara is suggesting that one who becomes a Nazirite while in the cemetery will be flogged, only if he stays in place for as long as it takes to prostrate oneself, as is the halacha with regard to one who became rich impure in the temple. The Meiri theorizes that the time requirement discussed in this case may differ from that of impurity in the temple, but similarly suggests that the relevant period of time may be the time it takes to leave and re-enter the cemetery. Shavuot 17a. The reason for the comparison in two cases is that in both situations, contracting impurity occurs when one has entered a state or place of purity, either by vowing to be a Nazarite or by physically entering the temple, as will become clear from the conclusion of the Gemara here. It is therefore reasonable to assume that the Nazarite should also be granted sufficient time to leave the cemetery before he is liable to receive lashes. If the one who becomes ritually impure while in the temple is receive lashes only if he remains there for a specific time, or is that not necessary? The Gemara clarifies. What are the circumstances in which this question is relevant? If we say that they said to him in warning, do not take a vow of Nazirship in the cemetery, and ignored their warning and took the vow of Nazirship, why do I need him to delay his exit? Was the reason that one who was already a Nazirite when he entered the cemetery does not need to delay his exit in order to be liable to receive lashes, because they warn him not to enter, and if he enters, he transgresses prohibition and is flogged. Here too they warn him not to take the vow, and he should therefore be liable to receive lashes if he does take the vow. And that's the end of the Amud A. Thank you for listening. With peace in Israel, all the best. Bye.